What's up, you freaking geniuses? So in this video, I'm going to teach you how to find the equation of a parallel or perpendicular line that passes through a specific point. So we're going to do one parallel example and one perpendicular example. All right, so let's start with this one right here. So this one says find a linear equation parallel to y is equal to 3/2 x plus 8 that passes through the point 4, -1. Okay. So these problems can basically be broken down into just a few steps right here, okay? And I wrote them right here. So the first step is just making sure whatever equation you're given in your problem is in slope-intercept form, which is this equation right here. Y is equal to mx plus b. Okay, so as you can see, this equation up here is already in slope-intercept form, right? We have it in y is equal to mx plus b, right? It's already in that form. Okay, now the second step is just identifying your slope, and then we're going to put it back into this equation, the y equals mx plus b. Okay, so in this equation right here, the slope is just the number that's next to the x. Okay, so this number, or this fraction in this case, is our slope, and I'll write it over here. So the slope, m, is equal to 3/2. Okay, so we identified our slope. Now we're just going to plug it into this equation right here. Y is equal to mx plus b. So let's write it right here. Y is equal to 3/2, right? I'm plugging it in for m right here. And then times x plus b, right? Times x plus b. Okay, now the last step is simply solving for b, okay? So how do you solve for b right here? Well, the only thing you have to do is take the point, or the coordinates that's given in your problem right here, and plug it into this equation. Okay, so this number right here is your x coordinate, and then the second number is your y coordinate, right? So we're going to plug those into the x and to the y right here. Okay, so first of all, y, let's see, y is 1, right? So we're going to have 1 is equal to 3/2 times x, but our x coordinate is 4, right? So we're going to plug in a 4 for x right there, and then we have plus b at the end. Okay, so then simplifying here, we're going to have 1 is equal to 3/2 times 4. Well, I'll just work that out over here. 3/2 times 4. On top, we have 3 times 4, which is 12. And on the bottom, we just have 2, right? So 12 over 2, or 12 divided by 2, is just equal to 6. Okay, so then here, this is equal to 6. And then we have plus b at the end, right? Plus b. Okay, now to solve for b, we need to get rid of the 6. So I'm going to subtract 6 from this side, and what you do to one side of an equation, you do to the other, right? So then these 6's cancel out, and then here we have 1 minus 6, which is equal to -5. Okay, so -5 is equal to b right here. Okay, cool. So we just solved for b, right? We found that it's -5. So then all you have to do is plug your b back into this equation right here. Okay, so I'll just write it down here. So then we're going to have y is equal to 3/2 x, and then we just found our b, right, which is -5, so -5. Okay, so then this would be your parallel equation. Y is equal to 3/2 x minus 5. All right, now let's do one last example with a perpendicular equation. Okay, so this problem right here says find an equation perpendicular to y is equal to 4x plus 8 that passes through the point -2, -3. Okay, so again, the first thing you want to do with any of these problems is just make sure the equation that you're given is in slope-intercept form. So as you can see, this is already in this form, right? Y is equal to mx plus b, okay? Now, the second thing is you want to identify your slope, okay? So in this equation that you're given, the slope, again, is just this number that's next to the x, right? Which right here is a 4. Okay, so let's write that over here. The slope is equal to 4. Okay, now whenever you're trying to find an equation that is perpendicular, you actually have to change the slope. Okay, and there's two things you have to do. So first of all, you have to find its reciprocal, and you also have to change its sign. Okay, so first of all, what's the reciprocal of 4? Well, 4, we can write it as a fraction, right? We can write it as 4 over 1. Okay, so what's the reciprocal of 4 over 1? Well, that's just 1 over 4, right? And now the other thing we have to do is change the sign. Okay, so since this slope over here is positive, that means this one has to be negative. Okay, so then the slope that we're going to use is this one right here, negative 1/4. Okay, this right here is our slope. So now that we found our slope, again, all you have to do is plug this into this formula right here. So we're going to have y is equal to m, which again is this one right here that we just changed, negative 1/4 times x plus b, right? Okay, now the last step is just solving for b right here. And again, the way you do that is by just taking your points up here. So this is your x and this is your y, right? So we're going to plug that in for x and y. So first of all, our y coordinate is -3, right? So let's plug in -3, and that's going to be equal to our slope right here, negative 1/4, times x, and in this case, x is equal to -2. Okay, so times -2, and then plus b at the end. Okay, so now here we're going to have -3 is equal to negative 1/4 times -2. We can just do that over here. Negative 1/4 times -2, and -2, I could write that as a fraction by putting it over 1, right? And then we can just multiply straight across. So 1 times 2 is 2, and 4 times 1 is 4. And then a negative times a negative is a positive. So here we have positive 2/4, which we can reduce down to just 1/2. Okay, so then right here, this is equal to 1/2. Okay, and then we have plus b at the end, right? Okay, now to solve for b, we just need to get rid of this 1/2. And if you don't like working with fractions, sometimes we can get away by just converting them to decimals. Okay, so 1/2, that's the same thing as 0.5, right? So if you want, you can just subtract 0.5 from this side. And what you do to one side, you do to the other, right? So subtract 0.5 from this side also. Okay, so then these halves just cancel out. And then here, -3 minus 0.5, that's equal to -3.5. Okay, and that's equal to b right here, right? All right, cool. So once again, we solved for b. So last thing is, again, just plugging it back into, this equation right here. So y is equal to negative 1/4 x plus b. Okay, so we just found our b. So let's plug it in. So this is going to be, I'll just write it over here. Y is equal to negative 1/4 x. And then our b right here was negative 3.5, right? So minus 3.5. Okay, so here is your perpendicular equation. So if you found the video helpful, definitely leave a thumbs up down below. And if you have any other questions or want to see any other examples, just let me know in the comment section below. Also, there's a couple playlists attached that I think you'll find helpful, so definitely check those out, and I'll see you there.